Hello Wargamers and welcome to another Wargame Red Dragon video with me, Bubblebox, and today we're going to be having a look at Pip Boy's Blue Dragon deck. Now I was going to do a subscriber review on this, but I've decided to use it for the Build and Battle series because it's such a nice deck, and I'm not going to change anything in it, although I probably, just due to personal taste, might have changed a few little things here and there, and I'll put a gameplay for this deck up tomorrow. So let's have a look now then at Pip Boy's logistics first of all. So we've got the Hachi ni Shiki command. Now I am going to destroy these names. That's just to let you know, I'm going to just completely destroy the names for these units. This is a wheeled vehicle, and you'll see there is a theme in this deck. We've got lots of wheeled vehicles and wheeled transports for our units in this deck, so it's got kind of a motorized theme, even though it's kind of a general Blue Dragons deck. Yeah, I can't see anything wrong with that really. 120 points, it's got a little bit of armor, it's wheeled, so it's going to be nice and fast. The other alternatives you could have gone for, which why wouldn't you, but you could have done, mainly because we're going for a wheeled thing, but there's lots of track vehicles. There's this guy here, a little bit less money, but kind of a little bit less maneuverable as well, but it is amphibious. I've got a more expensive track vehicle with a little bit more armor if you wanted to go down that route, and then we've got the command tank as well, and then we've got of course the Japanese variants of those also. This one's slightly different as well. There we go. And then we've got the ubiquitous Jeep if you wanted something with a little bit more availability. But what we've gone for here, the Hachi ni Shiki, is, yeah, great. I agree. Fobs. It's got two fobs. I probably would have only taken one. Probably would delete one of those and get myself some extra points for some extra units, maybe an extra tank. We'll see that when we get into the tank tab. I don't think this deck is particularly logistics heavy, so I probably would have just gone for the one fob. But he's got the other vehicles for transporting his logistics around. I certainly would have gone for. He's gone for the slightly one with a slightly more carrying capacity. It's still fast at 320. The CH-47D. There is this guy down here for 25 points as well, but that doesn't carry as much supply, I don't think. So yeah, definitely gone for the right chopper. And then we've gone to the cargo trucks. Again, they carry a little bit more supply than the Japanese version of the cargo truck. That carries 500. The one he's chosen carries 800. So yeah, definitely the right choices there in the logistics, apart from probably wouldn't got two fobs. Moving on though to the infantry. We've got some ATGM infantry first of all, the Shumats. Yeah, these are perfectly decent two-man squads. I mean, I've not got a lot to say about these. They're just a very, perfectly adequate ATGM squad, really. Nothing to shout home about, but nothing terrible about them either. They brought them in the wheeled HMV. Let's get that up real quick. The wheeled HMV. With a little machine gun for 10 points. Again, if you wanted to, we could have gone for the Nanasanshiki with two machine guns, but it's tracked, and this deck is definitely a wheeled themed deck. But if you wanted a little bit more armor, something a little bit more robust, you could have gone for the tracked one, I guess. And you could have gone to the helicopter if you want to get it around in and around the map nice and quickly. Now for its main infantry, we've gone for the Habian 90s. Nice shock trained 15-man squad, so fairly tough with 15 hit points. Yeah, I don't see any problem with these at all. Again, we've got them in a wheeled vehicle, the KM900. Other vehicles are available, including the LVTP. Again, it's tracked though, and we are got a wheeled theme, but if you want something a little bit more robust but a little bit slower to get around, maybe you could have gone for that. And then there's the chopper as well. The Habian 90s, we could have gone for, I guess, the normal Habians, but definitely a big step down in weaponry here for just 5 points. And for the types of games that we're going to be using this deck for, which is teamers and 10v10s, we might as well just go for the slightly more expensive ones, because you're not going to be sort of worrying too much about points income in these types of games. So yeah. Other infantry, there's only really one other kind of line-ish infantry, and that's the Sochong Sioux. A lot cheaper, but really a lot poorer as well. But if you wanted something a little bit cheaper, comes in the same kind of vehicles, then you could have gone for the Sochong Sioux or the Sochong Sioux 85s. But yeah, Habian 90s, nice. Next we've got our manpads, and we've got the best ones, of course. Always go for the best ones. Not got a lot to say about these really. The Mistrals. I will mention the vehicle again, the HM 900 wheeled vehicle, and there are the usual kind of variants, but they are tracked again. If you wanted a track vehicle, go for that for the reason I've said before, or for the chopper. Then we've got our Commandos. Now there's a couple of different types of Commandos we could have chosen from. There's the Kutai 90s and there's the UDT SEALs. Now I'm not saying the UDT SEALs are bad. They are perfectly good commando squad, but I prefer the Kutai 90s. They've got a better close quarters combat machine gun. Arguably slightly worse primary, maybe 10-man squads, same, I think it's the same, yeah, the same anti-tank weapon. So yeah, on your personal preference really. I prefer to have a slightly better close quarters combat machine gun and go for the Kutai 90s. And he's brought them in these things, the Kaiyu Roku WAPC. Got a little grenade launcher on top, which is going to help out no end. There is the HMV as well. Is that wheeled? Yeah, that is wheeled. Could have taken that. 15 points for the Kaiyu Roku Wapka, or whatever you want to call it, but it has got that grenade launcher, which is going to be great if you can micro it and get yourself some nice fire support for this type of unit. And that's pretty much it. We've got some other fire support units which you could take as well, and yeah, not a massive. We've got the Yebiguns as well if you wanted to spam out a load of conscripts with 5-point trucks. You could do that also. Both are tracked, those trucks as well, but yeah, I don't like using those at all. Support wise, we are quite AA heavy and artillery poor in this deck, which is why I probably wouldn't take 2 fobs. We'll do the artillery first. The only artillery we've got is a mortar. The longer range one, of course, the better one, and not much to say about that. Can use it for smoking as well. As far as the other artillery is concerned, there's not really a lot I could see. There is, I guess, let's have a look. Artillery, yeah, tube artillery is just not very impressive at all. There's the K9 Thunder, which is kind of okay. It has got an HE power of 7 and some armor, so you could go for that if you really wanted an artillery piece. The rocket artillery, it's got an HE power of 7 again, but because I probably wouldn't choose any rocket artillery. It doesn't fire smoke, and a lot of the rocket artillery do fire smoke now. None of theirs do, so I probably wouldn't go for the rocket artillery either. I'd probably go heavy AA on this deck as well, which he has done, and he's got one of the better anti-helicopter units for the Blue Dragons, and it's the Tan Sam Short Arrow. If you have helicopters and you see these against you, then just be very, very careful, because they've got an accuracy of 50%. If you get a couple of these, they can outrange all your choppers and take them out before they get into range of this, as long if you don't spam huge amounts of choppers, of course. So nice anti-choppers, not so good against the air. We've also got the closed arrows, which kind of do the same job a little bit maybe as the short arrow, but are a bit cheaper, and they have of course got a stabilizer, so they will fire on the move. Might be useful early on in the game. They are in wheeled vehicles, of course, so they will get to the front line nice and quick with your infantry. So that's kind of the anti-helicopter units. Anti-air wise, we'll have a look at that in a minute. Yeah, anti-air wise, we've got the Hawk Pip 2s. Quite expensive for just 3 missiles, but these 3 missiles are fairly potent, and it has got quite a nice long range against aircraft of 4,200, and it is radar guided, so the usual stuff applies there. They are a bit slow as well. They're tracked and slow, and yeah, they look slow, don't they? Difficult to get them out of difficult situations. Apart from that, what else have we got? We've got the BIHOs, which are worth noting. They are radar guided though, so you're going to have to be, microing these things around, but they're quite powerful against helicopters and also aircraft as well, if the aircraft get within range of these guns, and a lot of people do use these in their decks, I find. So moving on to the tanks, first of all we've got the big guy, the Kaie Marashiki. You get 4 of them. They're 170 points. They're not as good as some of the super heavies in the game. 20 front armor, for example, But they've got a very they're an adequate. Let's just say they're an adequate super heavy for 170 points. Nothing too shabby about them at all. But the one that we're really interested in is the K1. This is one of the tanks that I've really liked ever since Wargame Red Dragon came out, and I'll always have these in my deck if I play Blue Dragons or if I play as the South Koreans. They're a really nice looking tank, and they're kind of classed as, they're kind of between a medium and a heavy tank, I guess. I guess they're classed as a medium tank, but they are 90 points, which is quite expensive for a medium tank. They've got two machine guns, and they've got a decent front armor, and very good front armor, in fact, if you're classing them as a medium tank, of 17. But they've got a very nice primary gun. I mean, even if you compare it to the Kayu Marashiki's gun, it's still pretty damn good stats-wise for almost half the price. And still 17 front armor. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, so you can get kind of two of the K1s, the same price as a Kayu Marashiki. So I really like that tank. Let me know, what's your favorite tank in this particular deck? Because I think mine is the K1. That could be my favorite unit of the deck, actually. Then we've got some cheaper ones, the Nana Yonshiki Gs. Now I like these as well because it's not only the Israelis that have got grenade launchers on their tanks, so have the Blue Dragons in the form of this tank. It's not the best tank in the world as far as its main gun's concerned, although its main gun isn't terrible, but the armor is pretty terrible. But it has got that grenade launcher on it, which I think, so it's gone for an expensive tank, a medium price tank, and a cheaper tank. Now there is also, we better mention it, there is also the K1A1, which is a very nice tank as well. It's 140 points, but it's kind of somewhere between the K1 and the Kayu Marashiki. Kind of sits there in the middle with a very adequate gun and decent, well, okay front armor. But if you had to choose between this and the K1, you'd probably definitely go for the K1, I think. And if you had to choose between that and the Kayu Marashiki, you'd probably go for the Kayu Marashiki. So yeah, it would be your third choice tank. In my opinion anyway, it would be my third choice tank anyway for my bigger tanks. I don't know what you guys think. But yeah, there's that one. I probably would get rid of a fob actually and get this as well, especially in the types of games we're playing for this. So if this is like a 10v10, we can get more tanks out on the field. So let's move on to the other tank. Yeah, the other tanks, first of all, are a bit squishy, not very good, basically, which is why I'm not going to kind of mention them too much. Reconnaissance. Let's have a look at the reconnaissance. Let's have a look at our infantry squad first, the JSDF Rangers. So, yep, we bought these in the Kayu Roku WAPC. Again, wheeled vehicle. It's the theme of this deck, wheeled vehicles and a nice grenade launcher and a nice infantry squad as well, which is certainly capable of holding its own against other normal kind of infantry squads. There is also the these things, the Susaic Days, but they're a lot inferior, I believe, a lot more inferior. Strength of only 5 as well. For just 5 points less, definitely go for the Rangers. Definitely go for the Rangers. And then we've got a vehicle, the Hachi. Let's have a look. There we are. The Hachi Nanashiki. Which, yeah, it's okay. It can shoot at helicopters. It costs only 30 points. It's got a little bit of armor. It's wheeled. It's fast. It can get around the map. It's got a little bit of AP power. Nothing wrong with that at all. Perfectly adequate wheeled reconnaissance unit for Blue Dragons. There are some others which you could choose as well. There's a little Fiat. The Fiat's quite nice if you want a combative recon unit that can support your infantry pushes. Because it's got a nice autocannon and it can shoot helicopters if it has, of course, and for the grenade launcher, and it is a bit more expensive, of course, than the other one, but I really like these little Fiats, and if I was making a deck I might get these over the Hachi Nanashiki. And then if you want something really cheap, there are a few other units you could choose, including this one, which is okay as well, the Mitsubishi M2. It is a bit squishy though. So yeah, probably you want to get either the Fiat or the Hachi Nanashiki. And then we've got some helicopters, and the best one is going to be the OH Ninja. I'm not sure why you've got the OH Ninja to choose, unless you're really worried about points and you're in low point games, why you wouldn't get the OH Ninja. It's pretty decent. It's quite expensive, yeah, at 90 points, hasn't got any armor or anything. And has only a strength of 6, but it has got some nice missiles to defend itself. But the accuracy of this thing, yeah, makes it quite a potent weapon against other helicopters. Apart from that, there's not really much else to look at. We've got some Commandos down here as well. If you wanted a Commando squad, you could take those, I guess. Moving on though to the vehicles, or not moving on to the vehicles because he hasn't chosen any vehicles, and I don't blame him because the choice of vehicles is not good. Not good at all. We've only got one TOW2 launcher, and it's the K113, which I guess you could choose if you wanted to spend that 1 point on the vehicles tab. But again, a bit squishy at 5 points. Got nothing else to say about the vehicles tab really. Moving on though to the helicopters. The helicopters, you're a little bit limited as to the types of helicopters. The best one's probably this attack chopper. 90 points, the AH-1T. It's got TOW2s. And it's got a nice rocket pod with 38 rockets and a little Vulcan gun as well thrown in, with it can shoot at AP power as well. So it's got all the weapons you want on an attack chopper. It is 90 points of course, but it is a fairly decent attack chopper. We've got the full rocket podded AH-1J. This thing will shred infantry and light vehicles and even light tanks as well. Because of all the rockets it can fire at it, which have, yeah, it's just probably not as good as 90.1, but if you want to shred infantry or shred vehicles, you can use that, I guess. And the other choppers, just variants of that one really, and some cheaper ones which don't really, just TOWs and ITOWs. Yeah, nothing amazing. So, moving on to the aircraft. If we have a look at the aircraft, let's have a look at air superiority first of all. We have the KF-16C. Now, I quite like the look of this. This has got 6 AMRAAM fire and forget missiles, which makes it a very potent weapon, and they're fire and forget as well, which I've just mentioned. Don't know why I mentioned it again, but they are fire and forget. So 6 of them, and for just 130 points. It's got an ECM of 40 as well. It's got exceptional air detection. It's got everything you would want for an air superiority fighter, especially for just 130 points. Now, and you get 4 of them, so you can't grumble there. Now, he's also got this thing, the KF-16C block. Sorry, no, where am I? Yeah, there it is. Which is also can be classed as an air superiority fighter because it's got 4 of those AMRAAM fire and forgets, but it's also a seed wielder as well. So it's got 2 seed missiles with a good range as well and a nice accuracy and stabilizer. So you got a seed missile and an air superiority fighter combo, which you don't get in many decks. So that's a very, very nice aircraft as well. So that, in combination with the KF-16Cs that we've just spoken about, means that air superiority is going to be one of your better weapons in this particular deck if you are good at microing your aircraft, of course. There are a few other air superiority fighters, nothing really to shout home about. If you wanted, there are some slower ones if you wanted an anti-helicopter one, I guess, but apart from that, you definitely go for these 2, especially with that one with the seed aircraft as well. They're going to go together really nicely. Now, the rest of your aircraft are a little bit restricted. Bombers, you're going to want a bomber in your deck, and the only one you can really get is this guy, which he has got, which is the Peace Peasant, or Pheasant, however you want to pronounce it. It's got a nice spread of bombs, and it is a nice bomber, but it's a little bit squishy with an ECM of only 50%. Yeah, it's just the best bomber. The other 2 are napalm launchers, napalm bombers, and they're very squishy. So that is the best bomber you've got, really. Not much more to say about that. And then finally, we've got, where is it? This guy, the F-15C Peace Bridge. Now this is, what's this? The Peace Bridge. It's actually another air superiority fighter. Oh, so he has gone for another air superiority fighter. I'm not sure why he's gone for this. It's kind of a dog fighter. It has got 6 fire and forget missiles. But he's also already got quite a lot of air superiority. I mean, we'll keep it in the deck and see if we can use it. It is 100 points, and you know, when you compare that thing to maybe this one. Oh, that's why, because I'll keep pinning that. Okay, the Peace Bridge. Peace Bridge. Why can't I pin the Peace Bridge? Why does it keep pinning the Peace Pheasant? I'm not sure what's happening. I'm not sure what's happening. Peace Bridge. Peace Pheasant. Keeps going back to it. Oh, is it because I've got these open? Let's just quickly select these back on again. Peace Bridge. There we go. Okay, the Peace Bridge. When you compare that to the KF-16C, there is no comparison really. So that might be one I'd change out, really. I'm not sure what I'd change it out for. I'd probably change that one out. So that's pretty much it for all our land and aircraft. Apart from that, he has put some Navy in. We've got the old Congo, the nice Lafayette, stealthy Lafayettes, a couple of Tomcats, yeah, and the old LCU as well, yeah. Pretty self-explanatory there if you want to play straight to the point or something. So that's pretty much it. That is our Blue Dragons deck, or in fact it's Pip Boy's Blue Dragons deck, and I will be putting a gameplay up from using this deck tomorrow. So please do let me know what you think about this deck, and if you've got any decks you'd like me to review or some deck ideas for me to play, something a little bit unusual perhaps, then please do put those in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching. Please do give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.